Hello everyone, welcome to this week's video. I've been gone for a couple weeks, but I'm back now, and this week we're gonna make Mr. Tenna from Deltarune. What you're seeing right now is footage I took when I was making the prototype for it. I apologize for the bad lighting in this first section of the video, but I promise it gets a little bit better later. This is the first plush that I've made where I've started to utilize the embroidery machine I have. I'm doing some applique for the face of Mr. Tenna. Here I'm putting a piece of water-soluble stabilizer over the fabric so that it looks neater at the end. And I'm using the embroidery machine to add a satin stitch around the applique that I've done. And here the machine's embroidering the mouth on. Enjoy a little peel break. This fabric basted onto the stabilizer, so I'm working on the shirts now of Mr. Tenna. So I'm gonna embroider text onto this red fabric. I'm gonna put this in. I'm gonna take this water-soluble top interfacing, well, not interfacing, I forgot what it's called. Stabilizer is what I mean. And now I'm embroidering the shirts. I really like using the embroidery machine, but one of the things I really don't like to do is cutting the jump stitches. Those are those extra stitches that show up in the embroidery. You have to manually snip everything. They're kind of unavoidable most of the time, so. If anybody would be interested in some embroidery machine tutorials, I'd be happy to make some. I've been thinking about doing it for a while because it was kind of hard for me to find like direct videos without like finding a 5 to 10 minute video on how to do one thing that I was trying to learn. But let me know if you'd be interested in some embroidery tutorials. I got all the pieces cut out. I do have to size up this piece a little bit more. It's just slightly too small. Just ever so slightly. It's too small, I think. So I just gotta make it just a little bit bigger and redo these pieces. Here's my mess of a table with what I have so far. Here's me cutting some fabric. I personally feel like this part is always the most boring to watch, so I don't always show me cutting the fabric, but here's how it's going. Now I'm stitching together the hands. They're very small, so I'm adding the individual fingers to the hands. So I have to really take it slow and take my time when I'm doing this part. See, I'm not too good with camera angles, so you can't see what I'm doing, but here I'm sewing his schnoz. I'm sewing together some additional details. This plush has a lot of details compared to other things I make. I'm making some collar pieces. And here I'm stitching together the tail part of his coat. So this pattern also involves some sandwiching together of the pieces. So I have the white part of his shirt, and then I have the coat, and then the collar goes in between those two pieces. And here I'm stitching the pants to the jacket part. I'm sewing the two back pieces together. Here I'm simultaneously stitching together the pants to the back part of the plush, and I have the tailcoats sandwiched in between those pieces. Here I'm sewing together the front of the torso. And now I'm straight stitching the arm. Can't forget Mr. Tenna's tie now. And now I'm making the legs. So I've played the first two chapters of Deltarune, but I still need to play 3 and 4. I did watch my boyfriend play it, and I really enjoyed it. When I saw Mr. Tenna's cutscene for the first time, like, that was peak. I actually have a gaming channel that I just started. It's called Queer Rabbit. I guess I'll link it in the description, but I recently played Resident Evil 9, and hopefully I can keep up with that. I haven't edited the footage yet, but anyway, I was thinking I could maybe play Deltarune on there. We'll see. Also, on the topic of Deltarune, what is your favorite soundtrack? I won't say it's my favorite, but I always go back to Smart Race. I don't know why, but I could just listen to that for like hours probably at once. I'm just kind of like that with music sometimes. Now we can put together this man's TV head. There's a lot of squares involved in this pattern. Also, I made this pattern myself. I make the majority of the plush patterns that I make. If I don't, I will credit the original pattern, but otherwise I make all the patterns myself. Also, I do have one pattern available on my website, which is casualrainbow.store. It'll be in the description, but I sell an Ultra Kill pattern on there. So if you like Ultra Kill and you want to make a plush of V2, you can, or V1, there's both included in the pattern. You can check it out, and I also have some other plushies available on there if you're interested. This footage is old. I am working on another Mr. Tenna at the moment. I will be selling him on my website as well. Whenever my next drop is, I will have something. I will probably like put it at the top of my website when my drops are. And you can also follow me on Instagram if you'd like. My tag's on the screen. I post more frequently on there than I do on YouTube. So at least I'm trying to post. I'm not very good at consistency, but I'm trying. Anyway, I'm ready to sew the body together now. I'm pitting the legs sandwiched in between the body parts, the front and back piece, and sewing it like that. I'm sewing it basically the legs into the torso part so I don't have to hand sew it on. Pouch into the plush. I've been trying to do this more recently because it actually helps the plushies stand up, and I've had a problem with many of mine that they just fall over or fall backwards, so this helps a lot. Enjoy the rest of this time lapse of me stuffing the plushie. To explain a little bit of how I attach the arms on my plushies as of recently. So usually I would just do this with a needle and thread and just like go back and forth and attach the arms that way so that the arms can like swivel and they can like just hold a pose. But now I'm using these like things that you can like basically peg in the arms with like these plastic pieces. And I've already attached like the peg part into the arms. So I'm gonna cut a hole into the torso here somewhere so that I can poke this through and then close it up. It makes it way faster than what I was doing before, and I want it to be a little more away from like the neck part here because it's gonna be hard to attach the head. It's gonna just like kind of bump into these arms. Kind of only have one shot to attach these, so like I'm just gonna mark my fabric probably like down here. That's probably good. So I'm gonna do the same on the other side. I'm trying to mirror this. Then I'm gonna take my scissors and carefully snip right there. Don't want to make it too big, otherwise it'll just mess it up. So I'm gonna unstuff this to get the fuzz out of the way because you don't want to have this in the way of like the pegs. So I'm gonna take from my left arm and push it through here. Then you take this piece, have the smooth side facing the inside of your fabric, and then there's another piece that goes in here. So this, push it over the hole. I'm just gonna do it twice, and then we do the same for the other side. Put the smooth ring in, then the backing. I'm gonna push it twice. And once it's in there, you can't like take it off. So you just gotta make sure you have it pressed down to where you want, and if you do it too far, you can't really undo it. So I'm just gonna stuff this. So now that the body's stuffed, start stuffing the arms, and I just get little pieces like this. just so it's easier to put the stuffing in. Plus it avoids lumps if you put your stuffing in like bits at a time. When I stuff things, I usually kind of push the stuffing like into the seams first, and then I'll like build it or pack it in from there. This way, like, really gives it the proper shape of the plush. For the arms, I don't pack it as much as I do with the body and stuff. Gives them a bit more squish. I don't know, that might be enjoyable for someone. And the legs are also pretty squishy. So that's one arm. You can see it just swivels like that. I'm keeping some of these clips here to the actual time. I didn't speed this up. This is how long it takes me to hand sew just a little section. I forgot to attach this part to this plush, so I'm just hand sewing it. Of course, we can't forget the tennas either. Also, if you were wondering, I'm using a ladder stitch to attach these pieces. It makes them seamless. This is probably my favorite part. I just have a few more details, like the hands here. Can't forget his little belt. I'm using a whip stitch here. That's all I have for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I don't know what happened, but I was more comfortable with talking this time. It's a little weird talking to a microphone. If you guys liked the video, leave a like. You can subscribe to my channel to see more plushies that I make. I've got some planned, and I'm thinking of making some ponies. I've been getting into My Little Pony again, and I'd like to make some OCs or something. So if you're interested in that, consider subscribing, and thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you next time. Bye!